everyone, welcome back. My name is Lynn, and I am a Texas Zone 8B gardener, specifically Central Texas. So, spring came early this year in terms of temperatures that have been anywhere from the high 70s to the mid 80s for the most part since mid to late February. And I am behind the eight ball, as seems to be kind of usual, but we'll just blame Mother Nature for bringing the heat a little early. Today is a bit of a catch up with gardening chores in the front planter bed. And of all the places in this garden, this little space to the left of the porch has been the most challenging for one reason or another. Upon about the second or third iteration of trying to get this front planter bed together, we discovered that there was a large boulder blocking the drainage for many plants in this bed, which led to the demise of those plants. So here we go again. Hopefully this time things work out. I'm optimistic though. I think finally got it figured out. Okay, y'all, here are the plants. So these are the Salvia. All of these plants were purchased at Home Depot. One of my favorite places to buy plants, when I physically go somewhere. And this is just a white salvia. I don't know what variety, but as you can see, it's a perennial salvia. Has these gorgeous white flowers. Will become about 3 feet in height, 2 feet in width, and they are hardy down to -40. So I have 3 of those. So 1, 2, 3. And then these beauties. So this is new for me. I saw it and stopped in my tracks. I've never seen such a deep purple flower on anything. My gosh, it's gorgeous. It looks so nice with white, pinks, yellows, so many different colors. Now this is zone, it's for part sun, and it will become 20 inches in height, 24 inches in width, and it is hardy. It says in zones 8A to 11B. We are in 8B. So in a protected spot, and if we get a weird dip in temperatures, it may need some protection, but overall it could do well. And then I have 2 of these little Dusty Miller plants, full sun, $1.98 each. Gonna try and find a spot for those. Of course, we have the Biotone, which is the starter fertilizer for all of the plants. My shovel's back there. Plant tone somewhere, I think, on the porch. So what I'm going to do right now is go get these plants watered because they are thirsty. So the plants are all watered on the top now. And as you can see, they are soaking in water. So when you have plants that, especially plants that are root bound, plants that are very dried out, or plants that are being put in the ground when it's especially warm, you want to soak their roots. Now, you can put the water level all the way up to the top here, but I pop plants out of their pots just to make sure that they were well rooted in at the bottom. And my experience is as long as the plants are well rooted in at the bottom, they will suck up the water from the bottom. And so this is a very key step to ensure that your plants survive after planting. It reduces planting or transplant shock that some of the plants will undergo after being planted. So for these small plants, anything under 1 gallon, 5-10 minutes is usually sufficient. For larger plants like these blackjack agapanthus, these plants, you can soak these for up to 30 minutes. You don't want to leave them soaking for hours or, you know, days or anything like that, because that will lead to the roots being suffocated. But definitely anywhere up to a half an hour is ideal for most size plants to absorb the water, suck it up into their roots to decrease any transplant shock after planting. So we'll take a little break. We'll let these plants go ahead and soak for about 10-15 more minutes, and then it'll be time for planting. So in this bed on the left, the zonal geraniums purchased at HEB, a local grocery store, for about $5 a plant, did their job last season. They bloom from April until December with clear white blooms. But being a plant for zones 9 and above, well, I knew what I was getting into. It was just to fill a space. And January ended all of that, and we are moving on. One of the Agapanthus will go in the corner. The thought is deep purple flowers will look great behind the soft bluish lavender of the cat's meow nepeta. And these two plants over here, these are perennial asters, which is a must have, in my opinion, flowering perennial, because in the fall, it is going to provide your garden with so much color when many of the other plants we have are done or they're just taking a breather. So one will be moved over here. This Featherfalls carex is going into the backyard island bed, which is the project for spring 2026, which I hope to be showing you all soon. We're almost done. We've planted different types of salvia, nepeta, rosemary, pincushion flower, and so many other plants. Couple more weeks and it should be ready, and I'm so excited because I think it's looking pretty good. So don't forget to click like, subscribe, and notifications if you want to see how this bed turned out. This is the summertime Blues Vitex, of course. We'll have to get in and cut all of this out. So we'll just come in with pruning shears because the bottom part of this plant should be clean. All you should see is the trunk on this Vitex towards the bottom, of course. And as you can see, it's all covered on both sides around the bottom. So we'll need to go in and clean that up. Here's another dead plant that needs to be removed. Don't even remember what it was. And then over here, this is, or it was, another zonal geranium. So a zone 9-8 plant that basically succumbed to the first frost. It's not going to last here in zone 8B. But that'll be pretty much it for this side of the front planter. Over here to the right, on the opposite side, it is just maintenance. In a video last month, going over what to do when, so post-winter cleanup, we mentioned that sometimes it's good to wait to prune shrubs to see exactly what needs to be cut out. And as you can see with this Caryopteris, aka Bluebeard, it is indicating precisely that. So beyond a little trimming over here on this side and organic fertilizer, that is all that needs to be done. We like to repeat color, and all the designers say to do that. And because there are white blooming Natchez crepe myrtles in the yard, this area will kind of continue that color in this spot. These salvia, like most, are tough, drought resistant, low maintenance, low water use. In my opinion, there's a salvia for everyone. We actually made a video about that, which will be linked in the description box below. So this bed is transitioning to all lavender, lavender blue, dark purple, and white. And hopefully things are finally going to come together for this bed. Okay, so let's see how this iteration of designing this front bed fares. Okay, y'all, here's the final result. So all of the new perennials are in. Of everything here, the biggest concern is the Agapanthus. Now, this one is hardy down to zone 8A. Agapanthus has these fleshy rhizome that it really resents cold, wet soils. And even though this garden is for sure zone 8B, you all know that that is just an average. We can have periods where temperatures, even if it's just for a few hours, can dip down below what is typical for zone 8B. Actually, most varieties can be damaged or killed by prolonged exposure below about 20 to 25 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you grow Agapanthus in a marginal zone 8, you may want to treat it as a semi-tender perennial and provide winter protection. Now, the whites of the Salvia, they should light up this bed, especially during the evening. And the Millennium Allium just went in yesterday. We have 2 of those. And so it is near the Nepeta, right in front of it. And that's going to keep this bed appearing harmonious. Now in the back, the shrubs have been trimmed. So these are Japanese boxwood back there. And, last year, overzealous gardeners were paid to trim the boxwood. So this year, we tried doing it ourselves. Well, I tried doing it myself. So I trimmed the 3 of those a bit. Actually, I trimmed all of the Japanese boxwood. I'll show you the ones on the other side in a second as well. And so everything was fertilized with plant tone, compost mixed with pine bark. The nice thing about this shredded or pine bark nuggets is it will break down to reduce the soil alkalinity a bit. Now, next chores will be to clean the porch up there because it is a mess and get it decorated for spring, and to also clean up the new pollinator bed that was created last May. Now over here on the other side, you can see the shrubs by the porch. They've all been trimmed. Yes, I don't know what shape they're going to be yet, but they're just not as wild looking as they were before. So I'm okay with that. This one in the foreground was trimmed as well. And as you can see behind it, the lavender lightsaber, Veronica, is already starting to get its flowers. All of the shrubs over here were cut back, so all of the dead growth from last year, that was all cut back. And then the fountain, we got the fountain up and running. So clean water, mosquito bits put in it, and it's a solar fountain, so it is up and running. Water courtesy of the rain that we received here a couple of days ago. So that is about it. What is next to do up front is to clean up the new pollinator bed that was created last May. We're going to get this porch decorated for spring and summer. I hope this video provided information showing you something you like, or hopefully it was beneficial in some kind of way for you. And as always, thank you for watching. I sincerely appreciate it, and I hope you have a great day in your garden. Bye.